Merry Christmas. On this glorious Christmas morning, I'd like to share with you the words of the Apostle Paul that I feel perfectly summarize this special day. It's 2 Corinthians 9:15. He says, "Thanks be to God for his indescribable gift." You know, Christmas is so much more than the gift that surrounds our tree. It's about the greatest gift, the indescribable gift of God's Son to us all. So, to get us all on the same page, I'd like to share with you a quote from a favorite author of mine. His name is Lewis Smedes. He wrote a book called A Life of Distinction, and in it he says, "A real gift comes with the giver attached." Now, when you think about it, it's so true. It got me thinking of some of the many gifts I've received over the years. Most of the best gifts I've been given didn't cost a lot of money. Instead, it was all about the giver. Knowing them and their love for me, that's what made the gift so special. So if you were ever in my home and you looked on my nightstand beside my bed, you'd notice a nice photo of Brenda and I and all my medications and supplements, which take up like half of my nightstand, and this tiny little treasure box that's full of odds and ends. Now, if you open this box, you'd find a bunch of unusual things that would mean nothing to the average person. In fact, apart from my own family, I doubt anyone would understand why these treasures matter to me. But the value of things in my treasure box is not determined by how much they cost or what they're worth. They're valuable to me because of the people I associate them with. So I'm going to show you a few of them. One of them, one of my treasures, is this tiny Zorro watch. Now, long ago, I lost the band to this watch that used to hold it on my wrist as a kid. My parents, they gave me this Zorro watch along with a Zorro costume when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Back then, every Saturday, I'd watch the reruns of the 1950s TV classic Zorro, starring Guy Williams, who later went on to star in Lost in Space, which was another favorite of mine. This watch without a band is literally the only gift I still have from my childhood. But every time I look at it or I show it to my grandchildren, I'm reminded of the love my mom and dad had for me and how they wanted me to feel special and loved because they knew how much I loved that TV show. You know, another trinket I have in my treasure box is a dinosaur tooth. I mean, literally, this was given to me by my cello teacher when I was in middle school. I took private lessons from her for about 4 or 5 years. She was incredibly patient with me, and she took me to advanced level as a cellist. And she gave me this love for music, especially the unique sound of a cello. So, for one, this tooth is very special to me because of who gave it to me and all the great memories I have with her. And two, it's super cool because let's face it, it's a dinosaur tooth. So, that's in my treasure box. And then there's this really odd looking thing. This particular gift came from my grandmother. If you look at it closely, you'd see that it's made from the pit of a peach. My grandma called this a faith basket. You see, the peach pit has been carved out to form a tiny basket, and she stuffed the inside with a little bit of cotton, and then she laid a mustard seed on top of the cotton. Now, to keep it all in place, my grandma used clear fingernail polish on the seed, on the cotton ball, and on the outside of the peach pit. She made these, and she handed them out to everybody she knew to remind them of what Jesus said, that if we would have faith as a tiny mustard seed, we would see God do impossible things. Now, my faith basket is a reminder that I had a grandma who was a great woman of faith. But more importantly, she was the whole reason why my family started going to church in the first place, which means ultimately she's the reason that one day in that little church, I trusted Jesus Christ as my Savior and eventually surrendered my life to the ministry. My faith basket might have cost my mama a few pennies to make. It's not the monetary value of this that makes me keep it. It's because the giver came attached to the gift. It represents my grandma and it represents the beginning of my faith journey. I also have this small white stone. This was given to me by an orphan boy on a trip to Brazil. He gave me this stone to remember him by. It was one of his most prized possessions, and now it's one of mine. So I keep it in my treasure box because it reminds me of the generosity that lives in the poorest of the poor. The gift and the giver are inextricably bound together. You see, these trinkets and many others that fill my treasure box are special and important to me because they remind me of the people I love, which is true of any great gift. It draws you to the giver. When you open a present under the Christmas tree this year, it really isn't about the present. It's not the present that warms your heart. It's the person who gave it to you. It's knowing how much they love you. It's how they were thinking of you. It's how they wanted you to be happy with a gift that seems to fit perfectly with who you are or what you really wanted or what you really needed. You know, when God gave his son, his one and only son, he was really doing the very same thing. He was giving us the gift of himself. The gift and the giver came as a package deal. He wants you to know that his gift, of course, is for the entire world, but also that it's especially for you. The Bible teaches that before the world began, he had you in mind. He knew you by name. He knew how you would be wired, what your passions would be, what you would be like. So God, who knows each of us by name, who counts the very hairs on our head, for some of us, that's a little easier than for others. But God, he sends a special and individualized gift to us in his son, Jesus Christ, meeting us where we are with exactly what we need. You know, one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies is an older movie called Prancer. Prancer is the story of a little girl named Jessica who finds one of Santa's reindeer and nurses him back to health. I think one of the reasons I love this movie so much is because it reminds me of my wife, Brenda. She's a lot like Jessica. She's tenderhearted toward animals. She's sincere through and through and unashamed to be exactly who she is. What you learn about Jessica in the movie is that she lost her mom to some sort of illness, and her father's having trouble dealing with his grief and making ends meet at home. He's stuck in his grief, and he often takes out his anger on the wrong people. So at one point, Dad wants to send Jessica off to live with his sister, at least until he can get back on his feet financially. Well, Jessica, she can't bear that thought because that feels just like more abandonment, especially after she's just lost her mom. So she runs away. And in the process, she has a fall and ends up getting hurt. After Jessica is found, she's tended to, she's brought back home. She explains to her dad why she ran away, and she tells him, I didn't really want to run away. I just wanted you to find me and bring me back here and tell me things were going to be okay. You know, I never watched that clip without thinking about how there's a little bit of Jessica in all of us. We want so desperately to matter. It's not so much that we want to run away. We just want our Father to come and find us and bring us back home. We want to be worth seeking and finding. We want to matter that much to another person that someone would face whatever odds, do whatever it takes to come and find us in our lostness just because we matter so much to them. That's what Christmas reminds us of. God's amazing pursuing love. The God who is reckless in his abandon to see his lost sheep found. Christmas is very personal for each and every one of us because God came attached to his gift, and he came seeking for you because he's very attached to you too. Let me close with a simple thought. You know, some years ago, long before the days of political correctness and during a time when journalists were still allowed to have their own beliefs and express them, Harry Reasoner wrote a piece about Christmas for the television show 60 Minutes. I want you to hear what he said. The basis for this tremendous burst of buying things and gift giving and parties and near hysteria is a quiet event that happened a long time ago. You can say that in all societies there's always been a midwinter festival and that many trappings of our Christmas are almost violently pagan. But you come back to the central fact of the day, the birth of God on earth. It leaves you with only three ways of accepting Christmas. One is cynically as a time to make money or endorse the making of it. Another is graciously, the appropriate attitude for non-Christians who wish their fellow citizens all the joys their beliefs entitle them. And third, of course, is reverently. If this is the anniversary of the appearance of the Lord of the universe, as a helpless baby, then it's a very important day. It's a startling idea that a virgin was selected by God to bear his son as a way of showing his love and concern. The story has magnificent appeal. Almost nobody has seen God, and almost nobody has any real idea what he's like. But everybody's seen babies, and most people like them. If God wanted to be loved, if God wanted to be intimately a part of our life, he moved correctly. For the experience of birth and family is our most intimate and precious experience. So if a Christian is touched only once a year the touching is still worth it. Maybe on some given Christmas, some final quiet morning, the touch will take. That's my prayer for you on this Christmas morning, that the touch will take, that your soul will find and know and accept its worth, that you would receive God's Christmas gift, and in receiving his gift, receive him, because all the best gifts come with the giver attached. God bless you, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.